What is up, guys? Jake from OneHive here with the Week 3 playoff forecast video for the CWL Invite League. It is upon us. We are at the final four clans. Unbelievable. Cannot wait. So hyped for this weekend. And as always, I've got Adam from Time to Clash back with me. Adam, how are you doing, buddy?
Incredible. I mean, I've had some good news. I'm so pumped for these wars this weekend. I can't even wait to get into them.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be a hype weekend. I know a lot of people are going to, I've seen it the last few weekends. Every weekend, there's more and more people watching the wars. It's just that momentum's building, that hype is building. We know that we're super close to seeing who is going to be back at Finland for the live stream, and we got four clans. So let's jump right into it. Let's talk about the first one: Dark Looters versus Faked Wargasm. Obviously, we'll both give our opinions, but just huge war, man. This is a big one.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've said this all season. If Fake Wargasm had a streamer, we would be talking about them so much more. They had some really solid results against good clans this season. They were reasonably consistent. They did struggle a little bit weeks 10 and 11, but again, you touched on this before when we were doing these videos. You said maybe it's because they knew they'd already got there, very possibly. But you saw week 1, they got 7 10v10s. Okay, they weren't as dominant last week, but they beat a good Clontanamo Bay side, and they beat them reasonably well, to be honest with you. I mean, it was a solid performance by Fate Wargasm. And equally, I mean, if Dark Looters perform like they did last week, Christ, anybody's going to beat them. It's just, I don't know what happened. I mean, did you see much of that? Did you see what happened?
Obviously I was doing some streaming as well, but yes and no. I mean, they went 0 for 24 on 10v10s. That's never happened to Dark Looters, probably ever, much less in CWL play. What does that mean? Was it just an off week? Did they? Who knows? I mean, who knows what that means for Dark Looters? Unlike you, Dark Looters is a powerhouse, but Fate Wargasm is capable of beating them, especially if they show up like that. That would be a walkthrough for Fate Wargasm. But the question is, do you think that's how it's going to play out?
No. To be blunt about it, I think we're going to see the Dark Looters we expect. I know that last week they had a couple of roster issues because they had, I think, 2 of their guys were flying out to Finland for the Builders Hall 6 release, so they were missing a few people. And you know what it's like? It's not just those attacks that you miss, it's those voices when you're on the chats, that planning, that, you know what I mean? It can have bigger effects throughout the clan. And again, I hate to say this, but winning ugly, you see it in all professional sports. The teams that win conferences, divisions, championships, leagues, whatever you want to call it, they're the teams that win when they're not playing at the best. And somehow they did it last week again. Yeah. So when they are back to the best, man, it's scary to think what they're going to do.
So you're basically saying you've got Dark Looters in this one, despite last week.
Yeah, absolutely. I really do think that they're the real deal. And I think that with their full roster back this weekend, I think they're going to get the win. However, just to throw one more curveball out there, the update on Tuesday, this kind of creates a new variable into here because it's very much how quickly can clans adapt. Now, we've seen a lot about consistency and performance throughout the season, but we now have that extra variable of how quickly do you adapt. And again, I can't help but favour Dark Looters in this setup because I know how hard they work.
Yeah, I'm going to tend to agree with you. I think Dark Looters gets the win here, but this is going to be a close war. I think that you're going to see some residual, maybe lack of confidence. And not that they're going to not have, I don't think they're going over 24 on 10v10, but that's in the back of their Town Hall 10's mind. There's no way around that, okay? They know what happened. Everyone knows it happened. It's like, whoa, that was bad. Do I think they're going to be a little bit more focused? Yes, but still, confidence plays a role. When you go into that attack, you know it, I know it. When you go into that attack and you're like, man, I'm not sure about this, it almost always ends up worse than that one. You're like, man, I feel like I've got the plan for this base. So that's what I'm interested to see, how mentally strong they are, how they can bounce back from it. Because again, if it starts to happen and snowballs on them, that mental game could play a role and Fake Wargasm could slip in and get it. But if I'm putting my money on the table, I'm betting Dark Looters gets the win here.
Yeah, completely agree. And you hit the nail right on the head there. Imagine if they go 0 from 6 at 10v10. Yeah. That's not terrible. A lot of
maybe just 0 for 10.
But
that's
not
could it
affect
them? Yeah. If it starts to happen, it's kind of like, oh no, not again. I mean, you know, you've been there, you've seen it happen in clans, a lot of times on 10v11s. Which, speaking of, is exactly what happened to Success. Why the reason that Dark Blues got the win. It starts to happen, and while in a normal war you would never go 1 for 16 or 18 or whatever on 10v11s, it happens, and it's a mental thing. It's simply, it gets in your head, it gets in your mind, that doubt creeps in, and one happens, and it leads to the next to next. So Dark Looters has to worry about that, but they have been here before. They know what it's like under the bright lights, and I think you're right. I think their full roster comes back together. They feel more like a cohesive unit, and they get the win here.
I'm going to lead you into the next one because it's
Go
pretty
ahead.
obvious what I'm thinking. But I'll lead us into the next one then. War and Glory versus Dark Looters Z.
So who is going to make the most of their second life? Most of us don't get one in the playoffs, but both of these clans did, and they both turned it around and got the win in round 2. Wow, this war, you know, we talked about the first war, and it's close, and it could go either way, but this war is so much closer in my book. These two clans are, they're so evenly matched. I mean, they're both really good. You look at their wars last week, within 1 star of each other, both against good, capable clans. Man, I almost don't even want to pick. I almost don't want to pick. I think Dark Looter Z is going to win, and I hate to say that. I know that you have a vested interest in War and Glory, and I get that, and I like the War and Glory guys. I would even go as far as to say I'm cheering for War and Glory, but I feel like Dark Looter Z, there's that potential for that story matchup of Dark Looters and Dark Looter Z for them to just beat everybody. You know what I mean? For the Dark Looters family to just be like, we are king of this game. I think that motivation, that pumped up, they're just good. We've warred them. You've seen them. They're just that good when they're at their best, and I think they're going to be at their best. Now, I think this is going to be a 1-star war, give or take. I think someone's going to win it by 1 star. So War and Glory is going to be in this war, and if they slip up one little bit, I think War and Glory can win. But if I'm betting again, I say it's Dark Looter Z, man.
I don't agree with you in any way, but I do understand all of your reasons. And I mean, the one thing about this is in season 1, these were 2 clans in the mid-season. They met up in the regular season. They had a really close war that Dark Looters Z just won. They then met up in the playoffs, and War and Glory narrowly won it and then went on to win the whole thing. But even they said at the time they felt that Dark Looters Z was the real opponent in that playoff. Like they thought that was the toughest opponent. Then they met up in regular season and had, again, one of the best wars of the season. Really close. Dark Looters Z got it with a 10v10 triple at the buzzer. Well done to them. But it was one of those epic sort of 4 and 5 10v10s on both sides. Everything happening. It was just a great war. And now we get it again. It's just like, thank you almost to the Clash gods for bringing us this.
Well, I think you're going to see that type of war again. I think you're going to see that epic 4 or 5, really good performance on both sides. And I don't mean to say that I don't think War and Glory can win, because I do. I just, if I'm, again, maybe it's a gut feeling. I don't know. It's going to be close. It's going to be awesome. But man, it's just this one I'm looking forward to the most. And I am going to be streaming some of that as you are as well. And I'm not saying it because of that. I'm just saying this one in my mind is just a more epic war. I don't know why. It just is.
Yeah, and again, maybe it's because Fate Wargasm don't get streamed too much. Maybe that is a factor.
Maybe.
But I do think this. I think that if you were to do a prize at the end of the season, no matter what happens for the most exciting clan, I think War and Glory have to win it. They have had 6 or 7 last-minute wars where everything's been on the table. Not just last minute with like 1-for-1 on 10v10s. We're talking like 4s, 5s, and 6s on 10v10s. The big scoring wars. They haven't come off on the good side of it. You know, like 50, it's sort of 50-50 as to whether they've come off on the good end of it. But still, incredible wars, incredible excitement. Always heart attacks watching them. It's been awesome.
Yeah, I can't wait for the war. I really can't. But there it is, guys. That's the 2 wars that determine who's getting on that plane and going to Finland to see who is the best in Season 2. Good luck to all 4 of them. But before we go, we are going to stop in and give a quick look at the not in the playoffs tournament. So as you guys know, we mentioned it on the last video we did about this, that the teams that did not make it to the playoffs had themselves a little tournament, and we are in round 2 of that, the final 4 there as well. And we'll just jump into these 2 matchups and let me know what you think about them. The first one, Elite Gaming versus North Watchers. Both of them getting a win in round 1 and moving on. Who do you think's got this one?
First of all, I just want to give a shout out to all 8 clans involved in this, because I think again,
Yeah,
it shows the caliber of invite this season in that these are the 8 that didn't make it. Still great
sure. Yeah.
clans, lots of history, lots of excitement. 8 good clans that you'd want to war against, and they put on some brilliant matches last week. This one is a tough one to call because I picked Elite Gaming from the start. They had a good performance last week, but without a doubt, the strongest clan of those 8 last week's performance-wise was North Watchers. So a really tough one. I'm going to stick with my pick. I'm going for Elite Gaming. I do think they are very consistent, very reliable. They might not be exceptional. They might not be able to hit 6 and 7 10v10s that some of the other clans can, but every week they're doing very well with their 11s, do reasonably well with 10v11s. They get 3 10v10s, and I just think that they're going to grind out a win here. It's going to be a good war, though. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, I have to disagree with you on this one. I think North Watchers gets the win, and I wouldn't have said that before last week. I think they just looked that much better. Elite Gaming can win this war. I actually would like to see it. Obviously, I'm friends with Ash, K-Girl, all those guys that sort of from that family. So I would love to see it and see the matchup of them and my pick on the other side of this bracket. But I don't know if the tall order. I feel like North Watchers wins a close war here.
And then the second one, I'll lead you into this one because I know which way you're picking already because I remember what you were saying. First stage done. Like I said, it's 3 wins to win this whole thing. It's that simple. And North Remembers got their first win. They're going up against Power COC. What do you think of that one?
Yeah, I mean, I picked North Remembers. I think I'm picking them to win this entire tournament. These guys, this is like their Super Bowl, man. They are jacked. I've got guys that come to the stream. They tell me that, and you could tell it's on their mind. It's they've got the same feeling as if they were in the playoffs in the Final Four. They really do. That whole clan is pumped. They are looking at this as a rebirth, a chance to spring into season 3 or whatever's next for momentum, for recruitment, for all of that. They want to be the ones that win this tournament, and I think that goes a long, long ways. I think they get the win here.
Yeah, I don't know. I've streamed twice for Power COC this week, just as it happens. They're both against clans that I know, and both times Power COC lost. And to be honest, they didn't look great. But then I saw that a lot during the regular season as well, where they didn't look great, and then the following week they'd come out and get 6 10v10s. They are capable of the good scores. They're just not regular enough at it, which makes this one like quite difficult to call. Before I give my answer, I will say this: if you're right about North Watchers, then there is that potential of a North versus North final.
Yeah.
We're talking about Dark Looters finals. What about a North NIP final?
Yeah, it would be an epic. This would actually probably draw in more attention than otherwise, I think, because that would be sort of that rivalry, that same sort of thing. You know, which family clan is dominant, North and North. So it would be awesome. I hope that it's Elite Gaming and North Remembers. I would love to see that one, but it easily could be North Watchers and North Remembers in this one.
Yeah, I will say that however this goes, all 4 of these clans, it could be almost any combination sort of thing. They're all 4 of them have got a real shot. None of these are easy to call. I'm going to go with Power COC. This is a very small fighter, but I know that Power COC love miners. Tuesday could not come quick enough for them. So I do think that with the miners, that could be their edge. I don't know. It's going to be good. I'm looking forward to it, but I'm going to go with Power COC again. So we've both gone opposite ways in this one, so it should be fun next week.
I like it. Yeah, and we will be back next week, guys, talking about the finals of both of these. I can't imagine what we're going to be discussing next week, but it's going to be epic. Adam, thank you so much for coming on. Really did enjoy it, man. Any shout-outs you want to do before we go?
I would love to. I don't usually do it, but this time I will. Above and Beyond in the CWL Light final as well. Obviously, I know you'll be cheering on the Above and Beyond guys. They're against Michigan Rose, who are, again, a great set of guys. So a bit of action on Friday night, sort of early Saturday, before we dive into the main event. So yeah, best of luck to my Above and Beyond guys as well.
Yeah, for sure. Good luck to those guys. Awesome accomplishment, just getting that far. That's it, guys. We will see you next week. Hope you enjoyed it. Until then, Jake and Adam from OneHive doing our best to help you guys suck less.